For 2024, Buick has given their best-selling SUV, the Encore GX, a nice refresh in the front, the rear, as well as the interior. We're going to take a look at that today and see what's all new. Now, this is the ST trim, one of two new trims for the 2024 model year. It's this ST, or the Sport Touring, as well as the Avenir, which is the top of the line. We still have the Preferred at the bottom, we have ST in the middle, and Avenir at the top. This is equipped with the optional all-wheel drive, and we're going to take a look at some of the other features that they have to offer for the 2024 model year. Now, this is a vehicle in the subcompact SUV segment, which is a very saturated segment, or a very crowded segment. We're going to see where this stacks up today with a sticker price as equipped of over $35,000. Starting in the front of the Encore GX, you can see that for the 2024 model year, we have a major refresh going on in the front. Front and center, we have this new Buick logo that is nicely redesigned. It's red, white, and blue, indicating that it is an American brand. Funny enough that the final assembly point for this vehicle is not in the US, it is in Korea. Lots of parts from Mexico and different places. Engine and transmission are from the United States, so it ships all over the world, gets final assembled in Korea. So red, white, and blue for America, but assembled in Korea. Interesting fact about that. Now, moving down below, we do have this gloss black grille, as well as this chrome surround, ST indication there, and a front camera right there. Down below, we have this gloss black lower lip that is for the ST trim. Now, all ST trim colors, doesn't matter what color you have, is gonna get this gloss black, but if you bump it up to the Avenir trim, you are gonna get color matched. Speaking of color, we do have a $495 option color. It is called Copper Ice Metallic. It is a very nice color and shines real nice in direct sunlight, but today we have a gloomy, smoky, not very nice day. So even with that being said, it's still a very nice color. Now, with that being said, we do have an all new headlight design and DRL design. Full LED DRL, full LED projector headlights, and then down below the headlight we do have a functional air scoop. Now, on to some dimensions for the Encore GX. For wheelbase, we're at 102 inches, overall length front to back 171.2, and width 71.4, excluding those mirrors, and for curb weight we're just over 3,200 pounds. And when comparing this to some other vehicles in this subcompact SUV segment like the HR-V or the Corolla Cross, this is the smallest of those three, but just by a little. Now, as you can see right here, we do have black mirror caps, or this gloss black. As you can see, lots of gloss black on this vehicle, but I think it complements this specific color really well. Gloss black mirror caps, we just have a basic plastic housing. This is heated outside glass with blind spot monitors. This is a power folding or power adjustable mirror. And then down below, we do have a camera that's part of the HD Vision, or part of that advanced technology package that we'll touch on a little bit later. For the wheels and tires, we have a 245/45 R19 that is this Continental Pro Contact TX, an all-season tire, wrapped around these optional 19-inch gloss black aluminum wheels that are part of a $1,700 package that this car is equipped with, called Experience Buick Package. Now, more to that, but these wheels do come included on that package. Speaking of that front lip, when we were talking about the front end, you can see that gloss black continues all the way down the side of this vehicle. And like I mentioned, if you go up to the Avenir trim, this all becomes color matched. The refresh continues in the rear. As you can see, we have this new Buick logo with the Buick written under it, so people can correlate what this new logo is with what brand it is. So that's a nice complement to each other. On the sides, we do have these bright LED taillights, as well as LED reverse lights that are separate from each other. In between that, we have Encore GX indicated here, as well as all-wheel drive, and on the far right side, ST or Sport Touring indicated on the passenger side. Like on the front and the side of the vehicle, we do have gloss black continuing back here, and as I mentioned before, if you jump up to that Avenir trim, you are going to get color matched where this is gloss black. But in all honesty, I don't mind this as long as it's not broken up by silver or chrome bits, which that ditches this for the 2024 model year. There was some chrome silver pieces back here kind of outlining these fake exhaust tips, but they ditched that for this year, and I think it's a lot more sleek looking, and personally I like this design a lot better than last year's design. While we're at the rear bumper, I want to mention that you can option a trailer package on this for $695, and that gets you 1,000 pounds of tow capacity, which would be good enough for maybe a small jet ski or a small utility trailer, but keep that in mind, $695 gets you 1,000 pounds of tow capacity. Under the hood, we have a 1.3 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, or what they call the Ecotec, that produces 155 horsepower and 174 pound-feet of torque. This is paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, but there is one other engine option and one other transmission option. Let me run you through that real quick. So if you go for the preferred or the entry-level trim, you can select a 1.2 liter instead of a 1.3 liter, but that is paired to a CVT transmission because that is only for the front-wheel drive. So preferred front-wheel drive CVT, but all other trims get the 1.3 liter, and if you decide to go front-wheel drive, you'll get the CVT. All-wheel drive vehicles are going to get the 9-speed automatic. Now, if you choose this engine transmission combo, you are going to get an estimated 27 miles per gallon combined. Up front, we have 40.9 inches of legroom and 39.7 inches of headroom. Feels very spacious in here with this light interior contrasting nicely with all of the black leather and plastic trim. We do have a panoramic moonroof, so it feels very spacious as well, going along well with this light headliner. With that being said, this is equipped with a comfort package, which is a $1,295 option. That gets you 8-way power adjustable driver's seat with 2-way lumbar. The passenger seat still is a 4-way manual seat, but you do have that flat folding capability as seen here. We also get heated front driver and passenger seat as well as a heated steering wheel. Taking a look at the doors, we have hard plastic up here, nice chrome door handle that feels very quality, lock, unlock, surrounded by just a smooth hard touch plastic. We have an automatic driver window, and the rest are just manual. There is no automatic touch to those. We do have our power adjusting mirrors, controls here, and then surrounding all of that, we do have this padded leather type material with this nice stitch running down the side. The rest of the door panel is all just hard touch plastic. Little cubby here for storage. Seen indicated here, we do have the Bose premium sound system, which is a $500 option on the Encore GX. In the rear, we get 36 inches of legroom and 38.1 inches of headroom. The headroom is not too bad. It has a nice indentation in the roof line where I can keep my head, and if I go forward, I do find that it is lacking the space for someone my height. I also find that the width of this headroom is compromised or isn't to my satisfaction. I do find that I hit my head on the side here where this handle and light are. The knee room or leg room per se, I have my feet fully tucked under. I'm fully backed up in the seat, and the seat is adjusted to where I would be driving. And I have just about an inch or maybe less than an inch of room between my knee and the back of the seat. So not too great there, but if you do have someone a little bit shorter driving, it is not too bad. And if you just man spread a little bit and get your knees on the outside of that seat, it isn't too bad either. We do have a cubby in the back of the seat, so some storage there. We do not have that on the driver's side, or the passenger side, sorry, because this is that flat folding seat. So jumping over, sitting in the middle, there is no way I could sit in the middle. My head hits immediately. That's just not possible for someone my size. So hitting my sunglasses, hitting my dome on there. Moving over, we do have a hump here in the middle since this is all-wheel drive and it has all-wheel drive components. So there's going to be a small little hump there. On the center console back here, we have a USB-A as well as a USB-C, and no other vents or no cubbies. Oh, actually, sorry, there is a cubby right there. I apologize. There's a cubby. You could probably fit a phone in there with a little removable rubber piece. Everything else is just hard plastic, and this center console is nice and narrow. And as I mentioned before, this does have a comfort package equipped, and that gets you this fold down center armrest with the 2 cup holders with the pass-through in the middle. Opening up this manual rear hatch, this is manual. That does come with a power lift gate, but not on this specific vehicle. Now we do have a 2-stage floor that does come out, go back in, and it gives you about 2 extra inches of space. Putting that back up, we can see that we have a spare tire in here, and that is nice to have a actual spare tire. Although it is not a full-size spare, still nice to have it because you know they are doing away with spare tires in most vehicles and just giving you puncture kits and things of that sort. There is some storage in there if you wanted to use that or utilize that space, but putting that back down, we have a little bit of space off to the right side or the passenger side of this rear cargo area. It's about the size of like the shape of a half gallon, like the tall half gallon of milk. You can fit that on that side. On the driver's side, we do not have storage over here. It is just flat plastic. We have this cargo cover that is just held on by strings, so that is removable and you can store it underneath this 2-stage floor. Now, talking about capacity in the rear cargo area, minimum capacity or just behind the second row, we are at 23.5 cubic feet. If we fold down the 60/40 rear seats, we do get just over 50 cubic feet. Now, in comparison to the HR-V and the Corolla Cross, like I mentioned before, it is a little bit less capacity, but with this 2-stage floor and this removable cargo cover, it's a decent bit of storage, and you can definitely get a lot of stuff in if you fold down that second row. Taking a look at the center console, we do have this padded area here. It is a leatherette type material. I can't tell if it's real leather. It definitely doesn't feel like it, but nice double stitching down both sides of that. We pop that open. We do have this very narrow compartment, little plastic insert that is big enough for keys and a wallet. Actually pretty convenient, if I do say so myself. Interior of the center console, there is not much to write home about. There's no lights, no outlets, no extra little storage, just a basic hole. I'd say it's big enough for maybe a half gallon of milk, or I have this hydro flask here. You could fit that in there, but it gets narrower at the bottom, so you'd have to tilt it back in order to close that. Moving on from that, we have this nice little cubby in front of the center console that is big enough for this hydro flask. So that is a nice little touch, because most cars only have these two cup holders right here and are not big enough to fit a big old aluminum container like this, but it does have this nice deep cubby. So I keep that there when I'm driving. It does wobble around a little bit, but I'm sure someone can make an insert for it. So it does secure it and it does not make any noise. Up past this cubby, we have two cup holders with a nice pass-through. So if you wanted to store your phone, not in the charger, not in this cubby, you can put that there, or someone else's phone in that instance. But nice two cup holders with this chrome surround. It's a nice look, especially with this piano black. Now, piano black isn't my favorite, or this gloss black is my favorite, because it can scratch very easily. To the left of those cup holders, we have our gear selector, or our drive select, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low. We have a plus and a minus on the side for kind of a simulated manual shifting mode on the left side of this lever. In front of that, we have a few buttons: auto start, stop, off, all-wheel drive button, our lane keep assist button, as well as our traction control off button. A couple of empty slots here, possibly filled in on separate trims. We also have a wireless charging mat in front of all that. Put our phone there and that will buzz on. Up above that, we have a 12-volt socket, as well as a USB Type-C and a USB Type-A. We have manual HVAC controls here, hazard light button there, and two vents on the center stack, and then one more on the left side for the driver and one more on the right side for the passenger. Now, if you want to add a phone to utilize your Apple CarPlay as well as your Android Auto, which are both wireless, you would go to Settings, click Phones, and then you would press Add Phone and bring up a menu. You go on your phone, select it on the Bluetooth menu, yada yada. You understand how to connect a phone normally. But for me, I cannot connect a phone right now to this system. I've tried it with the car on, I've tried it with a cord. Nothing is working for me and it is not popping up on my phone. So most likely this is just an issue with this vehicle, and hopefully it's an easy resolve, maybe just an app update or something of that sort. But for this time, I cannot connect my phone to show you the Apple CarPlay. But most Apple CarPlays are the same. All you need to know is this screen, pretty good. Not the snappiest I have seen or felt, but all in all, has nice, just basic information on this display that'll get you by, and it's really clean, really neat. You can't really get lost in the setting, which is nice. We go over to the camera app, we can see that we have the HD Vision that is part of that advanced technology package. So we have many different camera angles. We have two cameras underneath the mirrors on the sides, camera in the front and camera in the rear. So we have lots of different options for different views. Really a cool system to have, helps with parking, especially in a busy place like I live in the Seattle area. So it's a cool feature to have that HD Vision. As for the driver information display, this is 8 inches of screen, complementing that 11 inches of infotainment. So it's a nice multicolored, clear, crisp screen. So it has just enough information on it to get you by, but definitely nothing to overwhelm you. Down below, we have our miles till empty, our coolant temperature, as well as our fuel gauge, what doors are open, driver seatbelt alert, as well as our light indicator there, and all of our safety features here, as well as our speed and tachometer in the middle. Right here with the safety features, this does come standard with what they call Buick Driver Confidence, standard across all trims, all Encore GXs, and that includes things like the IntelliBeam or the Auto High Beam, the lane keep assist with lane departure warning, auto emergency braking, forward collision alert, front pedestrian braking, blind spot, and rear cross traffic alert. But this also has the advanced technology package option to this certain vehicle, which is a $1,000 option, and that gets you the adaptive cruise control. And all of those controls can be found on the steering wheel as well as down below by the gear selector. As I pull out here, I'm going to get on it and so you can see how this thing reacts to some fast acceleration. So pulling out onto a main road, we're going to get into it here. Okay, so the bottom end's not bad, but anywhere from 30 to 60, it's definitely slow. It's definitely not, seems like it falls off a little bit. So performance is mostly from like 10 miles an hour to 30, and then you can kind of feel it kind of decline, like the torque curve kind of declines, and then it soon picks up once it starts getting into some of those higher gears. This being a 3-cylinder, it does seem like the engine runs a little bit rougher than some other engines, say like a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. But I've noticed that with like 5 cylinders and 3 cylinders, I think it might just be having the odd number. It seems that it vibrates a lot more, and it definitely makes a different noise than a 4-cylinder. That being said, the throttle response definitely kind of is dead at the bottom or right at the initial punch, but it picks up a little bit once you start getting into it. And like I mentioned, that 10 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour is definitely punchy, but it seems to fall off after that. And then once it starts going up into the gears, it starts pulling a little harder and harder. For braking performance, 60 to 0 is 117 feet. So not too bad. It's definitely not the best out there, but it's a relatively light car at just over 3,200 pounds. So I'm not surprised that it stops in that distance. For handling, I'm going to rank this at a C, and the reason I rank it as a C is it definitely doesn't have sporty suspension. It doesn't have off-road suspension. It's just kind of middle of the ground, just your everyday run-of-the-mill suspension. So it's nothing special. Definitely a little bit floaty around the corners. So handling, I am going to rank this at a C. Overall ride quality on this Encore GX is very good. I'm actually very impressed with it, given the fact that it does have some soft suspension. It kind of rolls a lot into the corners, like I mentioned talking about handling. But the overall ride quality, it handles bumps, and it handles speed bumps and grooves in the road and cracks in the road, which we have a lot here in the Pacific Northwest with our crazy weather system. It handles it really well. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the handling, or the overall, sorry, not the handling, the overall ride quality of the Encore GX. And that brings me to the next portion, cabin noise. So cabin noise, very good performer in that scene. So this does have what they call quiet tuning, or Buick's proprietary cabin noise filtration, or their noise cancellation. So at speed, at 40 to 60 miles an hour, it does really well. At lower speeds, it does seem like it has this reverberance, and you can kind of hear the body creak a little bit when you go over bumps and like modulations in the ground surface. But once you get up to speed, it definitely, you can tell that the quiet tuning or the sound filtration really kicks in and quiets down the cabin real well. So for that reason, I'm going to rank the cabin noise at a B. Now, with so many heavy hitters in this subcompact SUV segment, it's hard to really stand out in this miles per gallon battle, especially when you are taking into consideration that you can get hybrid options, which you can't in this vehicle. You can't get the hybrid in the Encore GX, but other manufacturers do make hybrid versions of their subcompact SUVs. But with that being put aside, 27 miles per gallon combined for this drivetrain, so 1.3 liter turbo Ecotec paired with this 9-speed automatic transmission, as well as a selectable all-wheel drive. 27 miles per gallon is not too bad. So I'm going to give it a B- for my ranking. Could be better, it could be much worse, as we can see in some of the other vehicles. But 27 miles per gallon combined, not too shabby in this subcompact SUV segment outside of the hybrid segment. Now, with all that being said, what will it take price-wise to get you into an Encore GX? So there's a lot of different options you can choose from. There's only 2 engine options, but if you choose the front-wheel drive preferred trim level, which is kind of the base of the base, the cheapest one you can get, that entry is at $25,000, or just over $25,000. Now, for the ST trim that we have, entry into this is just over $28,000. And this vehicle, as equipped with the all-wheel drive, the 1.3 liter, which is the only option for the ST trim. But with all that being wrapped in together with all of the options, this vehicle delivered is over $35,000. Now, that is over $5,000 of options, and that includes your Bose stereo system, your advanced technology package, Experience Buick package, your metallic paint. It's a $500 option. With all that being said, well over $5,000, or well over $35,000. So almost a $10,000 differential between your entry into the Encore GX and to where we are today. Now, you can go even higher trim with the Avenir, and the front wheel drive version of that starts at just over $31,000, and the all-wheel drive is a little bit over $33,000, almost touching $34,000. And once you add in all those options, that you may not have with the Avenir trim level, you are going to be looking closer to $40,000. Do you think that this is worth $35,000, this vehicle in specific? And where do you think the Encore GX ranks in this subcompact SUV segment? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to see what your guys' thoughts are, especially on the front end design. Me personally, not a huge fan of this new styling that they have. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to move the needle on the appearance of it and the styling and how aggressive it looks. But I just am not a fan of the split DRLs and headlights. I like when they're all combined into a nice package. Then you have like separate fog lights like you see on most vehicles. So personally, not a huge fan of the styling of this. Rear end does look good, and interior definitely does it for me. Like, it does enough for me to make it seem worth the value, but that front end just kills it for me. I don't personally think I would buy this vehicle for that reason alone. So what do you guys think? Do you like this styling? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know where you think this ranks in this subcompact SUV segment. Like always, thank you guys so much for watching my review of this Buick Encore GX for the 2024 year. It's definitely an interesting car, and it's nice getting to learn a little bit about Buick, researching this vehicle, because Buick's not really on my radar outside of car reviews. So it's been cool getting to learn a little bit about Buick and what they have to offer in 2024. But until the next vehicle, my name is Nick with Alex on Autos, and I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you next time.